Hi everyone, it's Killshot99 Gaming. This is the Walking Dead Scott Gimple promotion video. I know a lot of drama, a lot of intrigue around what happened with Gimple, but we are going to talk about Scott Gimple. We're going to talk about his new role. We're going to talk about the potential storyline and also his replacement, Angela Kang. So thank you everybody for being here. I know it's been an action-packed weekend of football. I'm competing with the football game, but I think it just ended. So all the sports fans are going to be coming in, and all the Walking Dead fans are going to be coming in. So appreciate you guys making just a little bit of time on Sunday night. We will be running almost all during the week. We're going to have videos Sunday night. We're going to have a little bit of the cryptocurrency, Tales from the Crypto tomorrow night, random things on Tuesday, and then a couple Walking Dead live streams a little bit later on. So I know this has been a topic for us. It has been, I guess, a little bit blown up, inflated, all of those things. There's a lot of anger out there, and I think this really accomplishes everything that AMC wants to accomplish. So you got to realize that they are replacing some pretty big shoes with Robert Kirkman, because Kirkman had the Amazon deal, and now they need somebody to really take over the entire franchise. So we're going to get a little bit of everybody's thoughts today, and let's just get right into it. Just real quick, though, before we do that, do want to remind everybody that your comments along the side very likely could be included in the video. If you don't want them included, be careful what you type. And once this video goes live, make sure you get over there and leave comments as well. So I appreciate everybody. All right, let's start out. Angela Kang has been promoted to showrunner. She's effectively taken over Scott Gimple's role. She wrote about 20 episodes, so she's been with The Walking Dead since 2011, very involved in the storyline. And then, of course, Gimple has been promoted to Chief Content Officer. And I know there were a lot of people that were trying to get him fired. This is not being fired at all. This is a big, big deal, and Scott Gimple is making some serious cash off of this. So I do think that they're going to it's a little different kind of being in the trenches and having the final say, and then being kind of the executive and having the final say, and that's what his role is. So Scott Kernan says, Angela Kang wrote some of The Walking Dead's most character-centric episodes. That is what is needed. The question I want to ask everybody here is, do you think, it's a weird way of asking it, but do you think they're trying to kill off a lot of the main Robert Kirkman skybound characters and sort of have it take its own identity, since it is owned by AMC? I mean, we know it's renewed. So leave your thoughts with that. Is that something's kind of happening behind the scenes? Are they gradually going to push people out over the next couple seasons until it's a whole bunch of people that weren't even in the comics? Possibility. Let's see a few people's thoughts here. Don't be shy, everybody. We're gonna call on several people. We'll get some shout-outs toward the end of this video. I know a lot of people want shout-outs, but that's what a couple of people are saying. Angel Savage says yes. Beth, yes. It would be crazy, but you know, there's lawsuits going on right now. They're not on the best terms. So there is some rationale to it. And who knows, maybe there's some behind-the-scenes deal with Kirkman that says, look, you got access to my characters for another so many years, and then it's done. You know, the comic book wants to go a different way. I mean, you never know what these backroom deals are and how they sign them. Daryl obviously being a big part of that. AMC owns the right to Daryl and several other people that have been introduced on the show. It would make a little bit of sense, right? Real says yes, but they're going to lose their TV audience. Maybe you lose a percentage of it, but fear could be a little bit better. So let's talk about Gimple a little bit. And just so, some people have the misperception that this was kind of like a demotion or a force out. It is absolutely not that. And I think some people thought because of the Carl episode, this was something to sort of get back at him. Scott Gimple is going to be the Chief Content Officer over the entire franchise. That means he is going to be involved in making Fear the Walking Dead better, let's hope, because the first couple seasons was not anything to write home about. So Gimple is going to oversee that. So if it starts getting better, give him a little bit of credit. We'll see what Angela Kang can do with the main storyline of The Walking Dead. But this is also going to include gaming and brand extension. So any Walking Dead games that come out, Scott Gimple is going to have a hand in that. The VR games, AR games, that are, I guess there's a VR game coming out, and the Our World alternate reality is going to be out there as well. Scott Gimple is going to have a lot of influence into that. So there's going to be a lot of different departments rolling up to him. As an avid gamer, I'm looking forward to a better line of Walking Dead games. Let's just say Walking Dead Road to Survival was something that was done with Kirkman, not done with AMC. So none of the TV characters were involved in that. Walking Dead No Man's Land is okay. It's not the best game that's out there. So I'd like to see a little bit more gaming content as well. I think they have a good opportunity to develop the gaming side of it, and hopefully Gimple can develop that franchise. And then brand extensions. So could there be another Walking Dead spinoff? So, a couple comments here. Angela says, I don't understand why AMC loves this idiot so much. Well, who else do you have? Kirkman is gone. Kirkman signed a huge deal, and somebody has to step up and create this brand. And I would say that other than some people that are unhappy with the cliffhanger last year, it's the #1 show on television. And it's had moments where it was the #1 show on television by far. They could do early in the infection for a Daryl or Michonne spinoff. Let me ask this question to the group. Do you think it's possible that there is another spinoff yet to happen, that there is another television show in the future for The Walking Dead? I don't want an Abraham prequel. I hate prequels. I hate things when sorry Maggie, but when I know somebody's already died on the show, I just don't want to watch it because I know what their fate is. It's like when, there's X-Men and then there's X-Men before they were X-Men. I don't want to watch it. So we're kind of split. We think some people potentially they could go into a different direction. A few people might be a little bit of overkill. Sith Lord, you know what? That is the feeling I get. He says, I think so because AMC will milk this brand for everything it's worth. I could absolutely see that. Once again, think of the analogy that I gave you guys about a week ago when we were talking about gaming and elitist and how people want the purity of the story. I think it's pretty clear that there are going to be other stories. Like, you could have a spinoff with Simon. Why not? I mean, maybe Rick and Negan patch some things up and Simon goes off on his own with a few of the Saviors and there's your third Walking Dead. Because remember how we've talked about the story developing from Rick's perspective, that you always see it from the Alexandrians? Why not a Walking Dead story that shows it from the perceived evil? They should do it. Simon and company goes off and you get to do the whole story through their role. Everybody's like, Simon must be destroyed. Wasn't it a couple weeks ago that we had some people here that were a little worried about season 9 and it's not going to be renewed? How do you not renew the best show on television? Of course they were going to renew it. All right, let me get to a couple comments here, and then we'll talk a little bit about some future possibilities. Robert says, I like Simon, but he couldn't be a lead in a show. See, and that would be, I guess, all these characters are dead, so obviously they're not coming back unless they're prequels. But some of these characters, if they did have a few just kind of abandon the group or go AWOL, then they could be potential new shows. Possibility, Joshua says. We did talk about that a little bit. Simon backsliding. If Simon did have some control over the group before Negan got there. I've kind of given that a little bit of thought. It's very possible. Maybe it would be that that Preacher time slot. You'd have Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, and then a third group. That way there's always some Walking Dead on. Like you're never out of season. Well, Kirkman was signed to put money in Amazon's pocket. Gimple was promoted to revamp this franchise. So let me ask this question as well, because you know that Robert Kirkman was really involved with AMC until he moved to Amazon. So how much control do you think that Kirkman had over the creative content, even when the ratings started to fall a little bit? So in season 7, do you think that Gimple was always going and Kirkman, to Kirkman asking permission, like, okay, we got to keep it going along these lines, and then they sort of turned it loose a little bit more this season? Here's my question, because a couple people have jumped in streams and they talked about The Walking Dead dying. Is that your personal opinion, or is that an opinion that you read somewhere from a Nielsen rating? That would be my question. Missy Ann, I'm going to ask you, because you're the one that said Gimple's killing the show. Because I would disagree. I don't think he's killing the show at all. I love the show. I like the show as much now as I did last season and the season before. It's just my opinion. I don't always agree with the things that they do, but I still enjoy the show. And the reason I want to ask is because most of you are Walking Dead fans. And you are still fans. So to say that a show is dying, ratings happen for a lot of different reasons. One, it happens because a lot of people are bootlegging copies of it. Number two, because characters die. Some people that were Glenn fans might have left. Some people that were Abraham fans probably left. Some people that are Walking Dead fans have not left if they're Walking Dead fans. So I would say even to a comment to say they're at a dangerous tipping point. If they're at a dangerous tipping point and they're still the #1 show on television, they're not at a dangerous tipping point. Even if they were the #2 show on television, they wouldn't be at a dangerous tipping point. Even if they were the #10 rated show on television, they would still be okay. So let's not go from phenomenal to, okay, they're great. They went from phenomenal to great. It's a $1 billion franchise. Let me be clear with that. $1 billion franchise. There's YouTubers that talk about it. There's action figures. There are T-shirts. There are Comic-Cons. This show is not going anywhere. We're going to be having this conversation 5 years from now in season 13, 14, and 15? So, Penny, for your thoughts. Good comment here. I'm still a fan. Just because I'm not happy with certain things won't change that. So, good comment. It says, this isn't just about Carl, Abe, or Glenn. The writing has not been good. A good portion of the writing is scripted along with the comic book line. I mean, they do have to follow a narrative. And maybe this is breaking away to a point where they do make it better. I can't tell you. I can't answer all of those questions. And I've enjoyed season 8 so far. I've enjoyed the season. I've enjoyed the conversations around it. There's been some shocks. There's been some things that are kind of left out there that we need to go back and answer. But I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. I'm really looking forward to the mid-season premiere. Is it going to be as exciting as it was season 2, season 3, season 4 when it was new? No, it's not. But what shows are? You know, which shows that are out there can last 8, 9, 10 years, and it's like you're just opening a present on Christmas Day for the first time? So, Six Side Sports. Season 8 has been amazing, in my opinion. So, a lot of people are big fans of that. Well, Missy, I will tell you that we will not see Rick with the Garbage Pail People anymore. After Simon kills all of them in episode number 10, then you won't have to worry about the Garbage Pail People ever again. All right, let's get to a few more comments here. Man, a couple of you guys are fired up tonight, like really fired up. I feel like Missy Ann jumped in Lindsay Luke's body, and she's just gonna like battle me all night long. Are you related to Lindsay Luke? Where is Lindsay Luke? Well, how come I never see Missy Ann and Lindsay Luke in the same room at the same time? Maybe that would be too much. I would be overwhelmed, overpowered. All right, we get Jada's spinoff. That's great. When Jadis is all alone. Well, one thing that I will agree is last season, and it was very hard last season for them to develop all the characters. But look, they had to develop Ezekiel. They had to develop Oceanside for something. Perhaps they knew Sasha was leaving, and you know, you're going to get a couple people from Oceanside to sort of jump in and fill that role. So from the start of season 7, after the cliffhanger, it was tough because you got to introduce yourself to Negan. And you can't just learn who Negan is in one episode. And then you got to develop the kingdom. So they were all over the place. And I understand the challenges to that. But it seemed like this season they've sort of drawn them back in a little bit more. And the other big difference that I've seen between, I guess, you know, the comic narrative is being followed. But in reading the comic book, hopefully you guys have saw the comic reading I did today, episode 102, issue 102. If you haven't, go back and check it out. And if you've read all of it, then you can probably relate to it. But it only took Rick a couple episodes to be, he never really was sad-face Rick like he was on the television show. And that bothered me. It going through all the weakness of Rick last season, that was tough. And when I see him in the comic, he hasn't really gotten to that point. It's like, okay, everybody's pissed off, they're walking away, and he pulls Jesus aside and says, hey, go follow him. Let's check it out. And on the TV show, it wasn't quite that quick. It was like, is Rick ever going to get it back? Is he ever going to, stand up and come up with a plan? And I guess they were just doing that on the TV show because they had to develop the other villains. You had to learn who's Gregory and who's Negan, who's Ezekiel, and then the Oceanside group. So let's see what Sith Lord has to say. Okay, going out on a limb here. We got a book called The Road to Woodbury and stuff about the governor. Could there be another spinoff? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Still, you're going back in time a little bit. I don't know how interested I would be in it. I mean, maybe some people would. So Northside Queen says, she missed a little bit. Is Gimple still going to have a say on the show? Absolutely. He is the Chief Content Officer, the CCO. So they're going to write it, they're going to develop it, and he's going to still sign off on it. I mean, I don't know that he's always going to be in the room on a day-to-day basis. There's writers, and then there's a showrunner, but he still will have a final say in the direction of the franchise. Like, I don't think she's going to kill off a big character without it running through him, but I don't know he's going to be the one running in the door saying, oh, by the way, kill Rick. Steph Richardson says she thinks Simon should be a major villain against Rick and Negan. Just going to be hard. It's going to be hard for us to accept Negan. Good analogy. Come on, Josh. There's no more big characters left to kill. Well, there's a lot bigger characters than Carl. Rick, Michonne. Carl's been there longer, but one could argue Michonne is a bigger character. Daryl. Yeah, I think Simon's going to survive. I think there's a story left for Simon. So just a quick question for you guys. Are you ready to accept Negan? Are you ready to bring him to Rick's group? Do you see that happening? Daryl's not dying, Rial. Daryl is the moneymaker. And I really see that happening. We made that prediction last week. I see Daryl and Dwight going on a little field trip. Mark it down. It is still a business. And I'm not even saying it is still a business. It is a business. And Daryl, Rick, and Negan drive the fans into the show. None of those three are going anywhere. You can say that with certainty. It wouldn't matter. If you wanted like the ultimate shock or the ultimate cliffhanger, none of those three are going anywhere. You know, and they gave Carl some airtime this year. I mean, you know, he got to go out, meet Sadiq. He saved the group. But they're not writing any episodes around Carl. That was the future. That's the part I think that frustrates a lot of people, because he was going to be such a big part of the comic arc. And all the times we've heard Kirkman talk about he's the natural replacement, that at some point no one's safe on The Walking Dead. Well, now that Kirkman's not there, I think there's a lot of people that are safe on The Walking Dead. Maggie ain't dying. So really quick in this stream, because you know this is about Gimple's promotion, and we'll finish with that. Give me your top 5 characters who are least likely to die. Least likely. I didn't watch The Sopranos. How did the show do after Tony Soprano died, though? Just wondering. Was it good? So, Carol, Daryl, Michonne, Rick, Maggie. I'm right there with you, everything Walking Dead. I don't see any of those 5 dying. I think those are all money makers, and I think they're going to drive people to watch the TV show. Rick, Carol, Daryl, Maggie, and Jesus. That's from Kel. Jesus could die. Rick, Daryl, Maggie, Carol, Michonne. So a lot of people are saying the same 5. So I'm right there with you guys. I would say the same 5. And if I did have to pick one of those, Carol would probably be the closest. I don't think Carol's going to die, but I think she could be the closest one of the other ones you mentioned. It's a loaded question that I just asked, because someone said Tony Soprano. So if the show went downhill after he died, then there's your roadmap that you don't kill, you know, one of your top 3 or top 4. If the show did better after he died, then I guess there's your roadmap that you could kill one of your top 3 or 4. So it's like, you know, either way. Yeah, you know what was, we did that, Rial, and Carl was a no way. And the reason he was a no way is because not of what he had done and what he was, but it was because of the future direction of the show. And that's what's, to me, is a real obvious change in the writing and the direction. And we should learn from that, because, you know, we're the ones that are being, I guess, sort of controlled by the Kirkmans of the world, who's saying, hey, this is the way it's going to go, and this is the comic universe, and this could be the future. And we sort of fell into that. I'm not giving you that perspective from the future. I'm giving you the perspective of what I feel the show is as far as a moneymaker. At this point in time, I don't think Carl's a big draw, and I don't think Carl's a big moneymaker for the show. I know for me personally, he's a nice compliment, and it's good that he's there, but I don't turn on the show saying, oh man, what is Carl going to do this week? Now I will, because of the situation. But it's always been about, even Abraham. Abraham was my favorite. I didn't turn on the show to see Abraham's storyline. I liked what he did, and I like his contribution to it. But it's just, I'm here for the story. But I also know that Daryl ain't going nowhere. And what happens in the second half of the season? If ratings pick up, they're going to say, oh, well, you know, a new showrunner came on and ratings went up. It ain't going to bring Carl back. Yeah, true. You did. You know, you did have it in the back of your mind, but now, like Negan said, that's over. We're going to have to follow a different story. Doesn't mean it can't be a better story. So, Easy Man, do you think Gimple will parallel the comic storyline? I think it's going to be less like the comics than ever. That's my opinion. The Glenn death was predictable. The Spencer death was predictable. The Denise death was shocking, but that sort of death was predictable. All right, let's get a couple open-ended questions here. So, Missy Ann says, Kills, do you think Kirkman is going with Amazon because he doesn't like how things are going with the show? No, I think he went with Amazon because he got a whole lot of money. And also, there are issues with how AMC was paying them. And there's also going to be, there are and will be more lawsuits. So, and Kirkman's going to develop brand new creative content with Amazon. So I think the legal parts probably are a bigger deal. But as I said before, I don't know how much content AMC will be allowed to use in the future. And maybe, you know, Kirkman was going to cut that off anyway and say, we're not going to give you rights to use these characters after a certain amount of time. I don't know. I can't answer that question. All right, I'm going to focus on a few positive comments because like 5 or 6 just really negative people who are not big Scott Gimple fans, I've been giving them a lot of attention. So I'm going to just kind of transition it and call on a couple different people just to get them involved in the video. Let's see here. Do we think that Tainted Weapons will make an appearance this season? You know, it's a good question. I don't think so. I think unless it's something that Simon does. Okay, let me backtrack on that. Possibly, but it could be Simon. I think Simon's going to be a little bit ruthless the second half of the season. He's going to start to take a little bit of that villain role, and they're going to smooth it down with Negan a little bit, especially if they want Negan to come over to the other side. Stephen Miller wants to know any episode titles yet. Stephen, I was looking a few days ago, and I was not able to find any to see what the mid-season premiere is going to be. So, no. But thank you for that super chat donation. Appreciate the donation, but as soon as I get them, I'll send them out. But there are still some good stories, I think, that can be told. I do agree with several people that said the scavengers were kind of wearing on people. They're gone. We don't have to worry about them. The chopper is going to be an interesting story. I think the Whisperers is going to be a very interesting story if they bring the Whisperers in and how that plays out. But maybe they change it a little bit. Maybe it's not the Whisperers. Maybe it is a group, but it's another group that's out there. And I would be okay with that. It doesn't need to be the comic book for me to enjoy it. Shannon Brown, do I think Negan could kill Simon? I think he could kill Simon. I don't think he will kill Simon. I think they're going to have their disagreement, and Negan is going to be captured. I do think that's going to play out. I think you're going to see a lot of the things play out this season, and then next season is going to change. Because, look, Gimple is promoted, but this season is already done. Everything is written, filmed, they're done. So it's not going to change what happens. And there's still going to be, I think, a lot of the comic book to play out. I do think the time skip is going to happen. No, I don't think Ezekiel and Rosita will get their comic death. And depending on when it happens, I don't know if anybody will get that death. Just, it depends on whether or not they want to play this out. Let's get a few more questions, and then we will. We're going to keep these on Sunday nights to 30, 40 minutes. Joni Tucker says, I think Negan will soften a little bit after Carl's death. I'm right there with you, Joni. I think that this death is what has to bring them together. Probably one of the few things that'll, I can't even say the word, that'll get me to accept Negan. No, I'm not going to like Negan. A year from now, if I do a video and I like Negan and say, oh, he's so funny, it's good they brought him over, then you guys call me out on it. I'm just thinking I'm going to have a hard time just seeing him with that group. I'm not even saying the good guys, because at this point I don't think there's any good guys. The one thing the writers can do is they can make Rick's group look less good and Negan's group look less bad and sort of have a little bit of gray area. Will be interesting. Gimple started to have a lot of impact. Okay, so we're going to wind it down just with a couple more open comments. I know some of you guys were just waiting for this. You're waiting to be fired up, and there's a lot of people that talk about this, and not everybody's happy with Gimple's promotion because a lot of people wanted to get him fired, so now they're doubly shocked. Like, really? I didn't like the way he wrote it. I wanted him fired, and you just slapped me in the face again because you promoted him. But this is a bigger opportunity. It's a bigger franchise than The Walking Dead. And this goes to, think about his role. Comic-Cons, Walker Stalkers, merchandise, video games, Fear the Walking Dead, the entire franchise, from AMC's standpoint, is going to be put on his back. So I'm going to reserve judgment at this point, and if I see some good video games, and I see some good content, and I see the development happening a little bit more, but I'm not done with the show. And I'm a fan of the show. I'm going to like the show. It's not because it's the #1 show, even if it wasn't the #1 show. I just like it. I didn't start on day #1 watching it. I binge watched it, and I haven't turned back. So I am a fan. I'll always be a fan. If Carl dies, when Carl dies, Abraham died, Glenn died, if Rosita dies, if Tara dies, if Morgan dies, people die. It's a zombie apocalypse. Everybody can't live. And for that, I'm going to say it would not shock me to see the Rick and Negan standoff. And I do know that there is a chase scene between Rick and Negan. Evidently, a little bit of spoiler information. Rick apparently runs into a vehicle Negan's driving. Negan's injured, and I think that's where they're going to have their showdown sometime this season. I don't know if it's going to be he cuts his throat. Maybe it won't be that severe on television, but I do think he's going to get the opportunity to kill him, and then he's going to not kill him. And it'll be some dialogue, and it'll probably be some dialogue about Carl that prevents him from doing it. All right, everybody, we're going to wind this stream down. A lot of emotion. You know what? At the end of the day, we're all friends. Supercharged. I had some Gimple haters in here. You guys got to get over that stuff and just be a part of the big 999 gaming family. Appreciate your time on a Sunday night. We are going to have streams all during the week, so keep that energy. Keep it live. We'll be back. We're going to be discussing it sometime during the week. Tomorrow, we're going to do a little bit of a stream. I may do 2 streams tomorrow. We are going to talk a little bit of cryptocurrency, but we may also have a Walking Dead stream, so you could have back-to-back streams. Tuesday night, we're going to do random things. We're going to have our 90s finalist and a few other things that we're going to talk about, which will be The Walking Dead, and then, of course, our Wednesday Walker episode. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of your time. Appreciate everybody being here. Also, Stephen, thank you for the Super Chat donation. Hopefully, the show has many more seasons, because what better to do than to hang out with all of you guys. So we get to talk about Walking Dead, the good, the bad, the spoilers, the countdown, and then the therapy that we do after the Talking Dead. So if it weren't Walking Dead, we got to find another show that all of us really get fired up about. And I don't know that it's out there. I mean, we can't even agree on video games that we all like. So, you know, the show is definitely something that keeps pulling us all together. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. If you want to shout out, if you're watching the playback, you can go ahead and roll out. If you're still in this chat, do me a favor. Hit the like button. Just drag the mouse over there. Hit the like button. For Missy Ann, my new archenemy. The Lindsay Luke of Sunday night. So thank you so much, Missy Ann. I appreciate it. I like healthy debate. Also, Rial was a little charged up tonight, too. I don't know if you saw the comments. Rial was kind of going at me a few times. Thank you, everybody. We're going to do some shout-outs. So I want to say thank you to Deborah Mooney, also to the Hippo, Beth Burgett, Sith Lord. What's up, Sith Lord? Thank you so much. Whitney, good to see you. Zane Thomas, my man. Stephen Miller. Pete D in the house. Maggie Bonacorda. Winnell. Who else we got? We got Jake Turgeon, Solar Outlaws, Walani, Brian Clayton, Michelle M. Thank you for being here. 1964 Cats, Marine Corp, Six Side Sports. Once again, Missy Ann, Carmen Trance, Steph the Cuervo Queen, Kelsa Smile, Tommy Sweetass Enforcer McCandless. Where's Emmy? Where's Emmy Desiree Bacon? I did not see her in the chat tonight. She got some stuff going on. Diane Estes, Everything Walking Dead, Easy Man, Casey F. Who else we got? E Beach. What's up, E Beach? Thanks for being here. Jill and Little Tommy get a shout out, of course. Penny for your thoughts. Thank you. Some very good pro-Walking Dead conversation from Penny for your thoughts. Also, Northside Queen. Anakin, thank you for being here. Who else we got? Wilson. I usually miss Wilson. He sneaks in there with a emoji. Thanks, Wilson. Trev Heath, good to see you. Hello, Diana Glendemeyer. Thank you for being here. Julia Drums, thank you. Chronicle Kai, good to see you. Brene, thank you for being here. Chris Reinig, good to see you as well. Getting caught up on the shout-outs tonight. I did. I caught Wilson this time. Garrett Farmer, thank you so much for being here, Garrett. Tammy Heitzman, thank you. Edna Tellis, thank you, Edna. Good seeing you. Scott Kernan, what's up, Scott? I'm ready. I am ready, Casey. We got another month. We can do it. Coltrane and Rain. What's up, Coltrane? Arena Hunter, good to see you. Angela Savage, thank you. Shannon Brown. Ryan Kills, what's going on, Ryan? A couple more seconds. A couple people might have stepped away. I'm going to give a few more shout-outs. It's all right. Hey, if you guys got here a little late, you can check a little bit of the playback. Tammy Sifford, thanks for being here. Zelda Faz, what's up? Zelda, it's usually, Sunday night's usually at 8. It's kind of our staple time. And during the week, we've been running at 9:30. So if we do 2 streams tomorrow, I'll do an earlier Tales from the Crypto and then also a Walking Dead stream a little bit later if I can manage both of them. Jake Turgeon, thanks for being here. You know what? I do so many shout-outs, I don't know. I don't know who I hit and who I miss. Joni Tucker, if I didn't give you a shout-out, thank you for being here as well. It's just you get like a couple hundred really quick. Michelle Wolf, thank you so much. All right, everybody, we're going to close the stream down, and I will see you all tomorrow night. If you're new, you want to know a little bit about cryptocurrency. I don't know everything about it, but one thing about doing streams is I can kind of spread my knowledge about it, and then there's a lot of other people that join that have a lot more knowledge. And that's the way I learned about Walking Dead comics, is from all of you guys, and you pushed me into reading them, so I've got a little bit more of a background. So tomorrow night, we're going to do a little bit of Tales from the Crypto, and then, of course, all during the week, we will get a little bit more Walking Dead. Thanks, everybody. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.